All right, I think it's time for a stock market update. Today I want to look at the S&P 500, we'll look at the NASDAQ 100. We'll do a quick review of Microsoft stock. Remember, that was one of my favorite trades and that has done very well. And then I still want to give you two of my favorite trades right now. They are related, but they are two different trades, so I want to go over that as well. Now, before we do that, I want to do a quick read of Matthew chapter 13, verses 18 to 23. This is one of the few times in the Bible where Jesus describes a parable, so he's not leaving anything for interpretation. He is explicitly telling you what the parable of the sower means here. So let's read what he says. Listen then to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop, yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. So what Jesus is describing here is when somebody hears the truth about God and about Jesus and what he did for us to save us, you are going to have four different ways that is received depending on the person. The first person is just going to ignore it and say, no, thank you, that's not for me, and it is not going to go anything past a simple conversation. The second person is going to hear it and believe it and receive it with joy, but the moment that starts to cause any sort of persecution or difficulty in their life, maybe their friends think they're weird now, or maybe they're getting a little bit of heat from the people that they used to associate with, they're immediately going to give up on the idea that that's for them, and they're going to go back into the world. The third type of person, I think a lot of us fall into that category, is the person who receives the word and believes it and lives by it, but all of the other things of the world are still at the same exact level of importance. And a lot of that could mean you're building up wealth, and eventually you just get so wealthy, the things of the world are just way too attractive, and you start getting addicted to materialism and all of the things that wealth can offer you. And that in itself chokes out the gospel, and eventually the things of the world become so loud that you no longer want anything to do with Jesus. And then the last heart is very rare. This is the seed that falls on good soil and yields a crop that produces 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. This is the person that is on fire for God and completely dedicating their life to God and his commands. And I think if we're all honest with ourselves, this is a very difficult place to be, because you do have to die to yourself and give up a lot of worldly pleasures to completely serve God. However, God promises that is the best camp you could ever be in. And I think we should all search deep inside our hearts today to figure out which one of these hearts we are from Jesus's parable. Are we the heart that rejects God and wants nothing to do with him? Or are we somewhere in the middle? Or are we seeking God so much so that we want to yield 100-fold crop? That is something that you can all answer for yourself, but I do think it's very important to read through this and look at your life and see where you are serving God and where you are serving the world, and what adjustments you can make to get closer to God, where you will find true mercy and grace and peace in your life. All right, so the first thing I want to look at today is SPY. And the last time we talked, I was looking at the dip that we were getting, and I was giving reasons why it was more than likely time to buy the dip. And that's this yellow line that you see here, that if SPY could just bounce off of this support zone at 733 and then break this downtrending resistance, I thought we could easily see SPY come up to 775. And by complete chance, that is exactly what occurred. And you can see SPY is struggling at 775, but it is now bouncing off of a higher low and retesting it. So what I want to talk about today is I want to delete the old arrow, and I want to give you some paths forward that we need to pay attention to. And one is still just a simple rejection, and then still forming a higher low above 763 to 760, which was the previous all-time high. Because in that event, that is a solid retest of the breakout, and it does confirm the buyers still do want to send SPY higher, which would take us all the way up into the 790s and that zone right around 800. So in the bullish scenario, you still do have the opportunity for quite a bit of pullback here, because if we do get the pullback from 775 down to 760, that's still about a 2% pullback. So don't view a pullback as necessarily bearish here, because it is just a simple retest of the all-time high breakout. And speaking from price action, I think that would be very typical and very normal if that did occur, but it could still be the higher low on the retest and then bounce towards 800. So yes, I do think a little bit of a pullback is possible here, specifically in the S&P 500. However, there is one more option, is that we already formed the higher low, and if we break above 775, that will be your indication from price action that we are heading higher towards the 790s. So keep all of that in mind. You have a lot of opportunity for the bulls to continue this bull trend even during the pullback scenario of the retest, and it would be only if we see a sharp pullback and break 760 and continue lower that I would be looking for the possibility that we hit a top. So hitting a top is a very popular conversation right now, but again, as long as SPY is above 760, if we bounce there and continue higher, trying to call tops or trying to be bearish simply because you think the stock market went too high is not going to work for you. Let the chart tell you by whether or not SPY is above or below 760. Now keep in mind, 760 is still that 2% pullback, so it's not like it's going to happen today or tomorrow, but it is the level you should be paying attention to for your trade plan. And specifically speaking, while the S&P is up here at all-time highs, we do want to stay bullish in other stocks and the stock market as well, which is why two of my favorite trade ideas I will present to you today are still giving great buying opportunities. So with that being said, let's switch over to the NASDAQ 100. We're looking at the triple Qs. Here I was looking for a bounce off of this zone in the 660s to come all the way back up towards 706. And we did even more than that. We came all the way back up to the downtrending resistance trend line here, which was right around 725. So the big thing I want to pay attention to here in the NASDAQ 100 is the fact that we are indeed at resistance. You can see we've been rejecting this downtrending resistance trend line every time we've come up to it. But with the S&P 500 at brand new all-time highs, it is very unlikely the NASDAQ 100 is not trying to get to all-time highs as well, and it's just simply lagging behind. So in that scenario, again, you have the same exact thing as SPY, where you could still come all the way down to this pullback zone and still form a higher low above 693 to 706 and still get the bull breakout to the brand new all-time high and go into the 770s and then the 790s. Now in this scenario, you are dealing with a pullback that you would be looking to buy dips in as long as we can hold above 693. If we can't hold above 693, there is a bearish scenario where we go all the way down into the 640s and possibly lower. So you will want to manage risk in this zone between 693 and 706 if you are indeed looking to buy dips. If you're bearish or you're looking to short, that's as simple as assuming that this is a lower high, and as long as we stay below 725, then you are looking for downside price targets, and you can see all of those here on the chart. Now keep in mind, this is the least likely, lowest probability because the S&P 500 is at all-time highs. The highest probability is still the bullish outcome for the NASDAQ 100 as well. So keep all of that in mind. Right now, this is a very important decision point for the NASDAQ 100, but the highest probability is even during a pullback that people will buy the dip and the NASDAQ 100 will climb higher. All right, next, let's do a quick review of the Microsoft trade idea. This was down here right around 393. I thought this was a very rare buying opportunity because I personally thought that Microsoft was going to at least 500 in the short term. And then I said longer term, if you were willing to hold it up to a year, I think it's easily going to go to 600. Well, boy, oh boy, did this thing move quickly because we already hit the price target at 500. And you could see that was on a very quick move after earnings, which is no surprise because earnings is going to be the catalyst that shows Microsoft still has strong growth. And then once all of the fears are gone that the company is no longer growing, people buy it up and then they buy on that good news and pump the stock higher, which could mean Microsoft is due for a pullback because now that everybody wants the stock, this would be the perfect time for it to start coming back down and give another buying opportunity. And in that scenario, I would be looking to buy Microsoft anywhere between the pullback zone between 458 and 465. That doesn't mean it can't continue to go straight up. It doesn't need to pull back, so keep that in mind. However, as far as I'm concerned, this trade is done. Take your profits. It was a very quick and easy trade with a very solid risk-reward ratio, and we take those trades 11 times out of 10. So the next question is, what are the best trades now? And my favorite trade right now is still Micron stock. This is ticker MU, and I said on this stock I was looking to buy it anywhere down below 780, and I am looking for this stock to go above $1,000, and you can see I have price targets up here at 1080 and 1124. I still think this stock is an amazingly cheap stock. I think it is going to go back to new all-time highs, but in the short term, we are still looking for a move higher towards 1080 and 1124, which is still over 20 to 30% gain from the current price. Now, in the event it goes lower, me personally, I will only want to buy more, and I still think it's going to that price target. So do keep in mind, if you are managing risk in the short term, if it starts breaking down below 780, it is still possible that it comes down into the 660s. And for me personally, I would be buying like a drunken sailor down there because, again, from there we have an even better return of over 70%. So I am extremely bullish on this stock. I am buying any and all dips that are at critical support levels, and I will continue to accumulate. Even though I think the bottom is already in when we hit the 740s, I do think that was the low and we're going higher. Leave room to manage risk as always, because we have no idea if the stock actually has bottomed. Leave room to go all the way down towards 661. But again, amazing risk reward, amazing company, amazing growth, amazing fundamentals, and now we're getting amazing technicals. As you can clearly see, we are breaking and holding above the downtrending resistance trend line, and this stock looks ready to run. All right, and then my second trade idea is very related to Micron stock, so keep that in mind. This is also in the memory space, also showing amazing growth and amazing fundamentals and a great technical setup here, because I do believe this bottom is also in down here above 1,000, and I think this stock is getting ready to go on a face-ripping bull rally all the way up to 2186, or you can use the sooner price target down around 1900. Now, what you want to see here is you want to see a solid hold above the low at 1012, or you can use this higher lows target at 1159. And all we need to do is continue to hold above that support and or break the resistance above at 1432. And then I think we're well on our way towards 2186. And I do believe once this stock gets the technical higher high breakout, I think it could move very quickly, which means even though I drew it like this, it could actually go like this, because this stock is extremely undervalued right now, in my opinion. It's just going to need technical buyers to step back in when we get the higher high breakout. So it could look something like this, and then a rip higher towards that price target at 2186. So these are my two favorite trades right now. Keep in mind, they are very similar. They're both memory stock trades in the AI trade space. So don't over leverage in both of them. Maybe split it up 50-50, or if you want the safer bet, that would be Micron. If you want the higher beta, a little more of a gamble bet, that would be SanDisk, SNDK. So those are my favorite trades. I still do think the stock market is bullish. I still think you're going to see people buying the dips on any pullbacks, and I do think all pullbacks will still be mild, anywhere between that 2 to 5% range, and those will be screaming buys with the current conditions that I see in the stock market, which are still very technically and fundamentally bullish. I know that's hard to believe for some of you that have been bearish for a long time, but that is just what I see in the current state, and we always go by the objective evidence on the chart and not our bias or our opinions. So thank you for watching, everybody. God bless every single one of you, and I hope that you all have a great day.